Wait to get a few people up in here. I ain't had time to. I ain't gonna say I ain't had time. I didn't make time to kind of announce it because I didn't know if it, who would show up or whatnot.
All good.
And I hate we don't do it every week like we was doing, but I get it. Like I said, one count on you having a partially, collapsed lung, one counting on smooth.
That
Man,
shit. That was crazy. I ain't never had nothing like that happen.
Like, man, what happened to my boy? You told me that? Cause I was like, well, he on Twitter. What's going on?
I literally had just jumped back on there too.
Right.
I was just doing my little cardio and then boom. I was like, dang.
Oh wow, we got 16 already, so let's go ahead.
They've been waiting.
Right. Long awaited, trust me. All right. Good evening, Panther fans. Welcome to another edition of the Four-Man Rush. I'm your main man, Kevin Avery, a.k.a. Country Kev. Running cover 2 tonight with my partner in crime, Darius, a.k.a. JD, the Panthers Den. Coming to you. Just a little bit of different format tonight. We haven't been on since we got our Week 3 win at the Raiders. All I'm going to say is life has been happening behind the scenes for several of our Four-Man Rush members, and kind of wanted to wait till life settled down before we all was able to reconvene here because, life over football. But we're back. Had several people reach out to me asking when we was going to come back on. So we're here for you guys, and we promise that we are not going to make it a long absence. We're going to try to get back on a very consistent basis with you guys. So appreciate you waiting on us. Appreciate you guys standing by. So, as you know, currently the 2024 Carolina Panthers, the first 5 games in the season, we're sitting at a record of 1 win, 4 losses. It's definitely been interesting since since we last was on. We got a 4:25 matchup, Week 6, home divisional rivalry game against the Atlanta Falcons, who are coming in after they won their Thursday night game against the New Orleans Saints last week. They're currently sitting at 3-2, and technically are in first place because they beat Tampa Bay, who also has a 3-2 record. The New Orleans Saints are 2-3, and the Carolina Panthers are 1-4. But with all that being said, as bad as it's been, the Panthers are able to somehow win the game on Sunday. Believe it or not, we'll only be a game out of first place. So, gotta love the NFL. But anyway, coming to you tonight, we're gonna break it down into 4 topics here. If you guys take a look, scrolling down at the bottom, and the first question here that we're going to discuss, and I'm gonna definitely let JD, start off here, and we just kind of, piggyback off each other. But the first discussion is, how has the Panthers offense looked with Andy Dalton, with quarterback Andy Dalton at the helm? JD, you study all positions, but you're definitely well endowed with the nuances of the quarterback. So tell me, give me your opinions, good, bad, and indifferent, of what you think about how Andy Dalton has performed so far.
Andy Dalton has been really good for the first couple games he played in. Obviously, the Raiders coming in, did his thing, kept everything on schedule. Pretty much a perfect game as far as the quarterback position goes. Then we started coming back down to earth. The next game, obviously, still really good, but not the perfect game we saw against the Raiders. And then obviously we all saw what happened on Sunday. Kind of went off the rails a little bit, but I think the main difference for me is just the nuances of the quarterback position. Like, you don't expect your young quarterback to come in as polished as far as looking off safeties, as far as ID and pressure, sliding the line, knowing, understanding where your hots are, and if you don't have a hot in a hot route or a quick release route in an advantageous position, putting it there and making a call, making audible checks at the line. So that's really what's making the difference for me. Honestly, the analysis of a Bryce Young in comparison has always been kind of lazy as far as he just doesn't have the arm to make these throws. It's kind of lazy to me um, because if you go back, not necessarily not having the arm talent is not the issue. I think the primary issue is obviously the base for Bryce Young. Andy Dalton doesn't have that issue because he doesn't have that play style. Andy Dalton is a more pocket present quarterback, and he can scoot a little bit. He's no slouch, but he's not the one trying to manipulate the pocket on PA boots and all that good stuff and throwing off platform. That's not really his game. Um, so I would say the main difference is just the nuance of the quarterback position for Andy Dalton. And it makes when you have a quarterback that's able to make the X's and O's make sense, then it makes everybody look better as far as understanding where pressure is probably coming from. So if pressure is coming from off the left side and they're showing blitz, let's have a hot, quick slant right behind the blitzers and get our guys in space. It's the little things like that. It's not necessarily Andy Dalton is making more of the throws that Bryce Young can't make. It's for down to down, snap to snap for me. It's just understanding the nuances. And I will say taking the shots when they're there. Andy Dalton is a little bit more, especially in the Raiders game. He wasn't as gun shy to take those chances. Like he has Adam Thielen on the play. He got hurt. He has him streaking up the seam, and he doesn't necessarily have a step on. I wouldn't even call it a full step. Maybe he had him by a half step, but Andy Dalton goes ahead and rip that throw, and it's the best throw we've seen all season long. So it's not. I wouldn't even call that even that throw something Bryce Young can't do. It's just a matter of, okay, do you have the base to do that? Because the difference in arm talent for quarterbacks in the NFL position. Obviously, you have the guys who can wake up, throw off one foot like Cam Newton could, and throw off balance, throw off his back foot, all that good stuff. And the ball has plenty of zip to make it there. But when you're not one of those elite arm guys, and especially there wasn't many in Bryce Young's class outside of I would say Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. Those guys obviously can just throw it to the moon or whatever, but throwing from a solid base is the more important thing when you don't have that type of upper body torque and arm talent. So that's the main difference. We've come back down to earth now. I was going to be a little hesitant as far as saying that 9 was the issue here. Obviously, he wasn't the solution, but I would hold off on that. And I was saying that after that Raiders game, hold off on saying that until we get 1, 2, 3 games under our belt with defenses having film on quarterbacks. And I'll say this and then I'll render it over to you. I feel like, I don't know the data behind this. I always want to kind of dig. But if you have a backup quarterback come in cold, like we did Andy Dalton, and with no film all season pretty much, he's been hurt, rehabbing, making his way back. I feel like it's easier for that quarterback, as long as they do the little things right, it's easier for that quarterback to have some success rather than, okay, if we blitz off the left side, Bryce Young didn't see it. He's looking at it and he's trying to save the play or whatever. If we bring pressure and force him to get out the pocket, we can kind of, when he does have a clean pocket, we can kind of get him here in footsteps. And even if we don't come, if we show blitz, it'll probably get him off. So I feel like it's easier for defenses to get in the head or get in the head of somebody who they have film on. But that's just me. You might be muted, bro.
Sorry about that. I was muted. But yeah, that's definitely a good analysis, though. Me, I've always been a Bryce Young fan. I felt like based on, you know, college film tape and breakdown, he was, and I think a lot of people had him as the consensus #1 overall pick. I mean, yeah, of course, everybody fell in love with C.J. Stroud, and things of that nature. But if I had to do it all over again, with better circumstances for Bryce to come in up under, I think I still would have took him over C.J. Stroud. That's just me, you know. Um, but with that being said, um, some good points was brought up in the four-man rush chat, stating how Bryce Young never faced any adversity in his life ever on the field. I think he was going to one of the top high schools in the country when he was in California.
Yes, sir.
I don't even think they lost maybe like a couple of games the whole time he played. Then he went on out to Alabama, the premier program in college football, won the Heisman, and everything. He really never faced any being in a adverse environment, and I think that never facing, to have the pressure on your shoulders to resurrect a toxic, dysfunctional franchise like our beloved Carolina Panthers. And me here, JD, we're going to call it like it is. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We have been toxic. We have been dysfunctional, both on and off the field. I think that it was more than he was ready for. And even though he's very PR, says all the right things and things of that nature, I do think that the burden of trying to resurrect this franchise got to him. And JD, we all been here, when it comes to the ladies, man. Your girl done dumped you and hooking up with a, old sexy, fleshy NBA ass nigga, you know what I'm saying? And just, you seen your girl on TV, on Monday Night Football and the booth with Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, they were just holding hands going to practice not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? So for me, look, Bryce a good dude. Bryce a dude, that's probably, sit in the front row at church. He's the nice guy, this young lady, she, obviously had been dating other star athletes as well with her track record. So I think that played a small part, not a big part, but that definitely played a enough part, as far as demeanor. Because I've always said it's just in Bryce's head. JD, how many hours of film clips of Bryce Young during the all season? No, matter of fact, we was looking at his clips before it was time he was eligible for the draft. Like, we've probably been looking at Bryce Young's film for 3 years.
Yeah.
The kid can play. He can make all the throws. You know what I'm saying? So, like you stated so elegantly earlier, it's not a matter of physical limitations. Even though everybody's caught up on he's only 5'10", 190 pounds, soaking wet, blah 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 blah, and all that stuff. Even though it is college football, you don't win the Heisman and not know how to play at an elite level. But I think, like I said, when you factor in the things that I've just said, I just think that it just came too much, and it probably would have been his best benefit to probably have sat last year and came in this year. But now it seems like it's the reverse. He played last year, now has to sit this year. Me personally, I don't believe his run is over in Carolina. Andy Dalton, I think, is turning 37 this month.
Yeah.
He only signed a 2-year contract. So let's say he puts up steady numbers and looks good for us the rest of the season. Let's say we finish the year 5, 6, possibly 7 wins or something like that. I mean, do you let Andy Dalton go? You bring him back at how much? You still have Bryce Young with after this year, 3 years left on his rookie contract. Just from a salary cap perspective, you keep Bryce Young around because you just never know. But that's just my Bryce Young's perspective of what I think is, my opinion and viewpoint on how he played, how he fared. Now, as far as with Andy Dalton, man, you called it. I mean, he was letting it fly. It was a variety. He hit the check downs, he hit the intermediates, he was hitting the deep balls. He showed good pocket presence. He slid and stepped up in the pocket. He looked like what 13-year veteran is supposed to look like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's excited by having this opportunity again. And you can definitely be a Bryce Young supporter and also love, and wish Andy Dalton to play well. A lot of people try to split it. No, it doesn't work that way over here, at least my way. But moving forward, though, I really like with this. Like, JD, you see the film, like I'm seeing guys getting open, like when we watched the All 22 that wasn't getting open last year, like between the play design, the schemes, like guys are open now, whether they get hit in stride or not. But we were struggling to see that on a consistent basis. But every one of these games, guys are getting schemed open, are getting open. So I know we're dealing with injuries right now on the offensive line. We just lost Corbett for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Moton is missing his first game ever. His streak is now over at 101, 102 consecutive games.
That's insane.
Crazy, right? So, but in spite of all of that, I really like to think that we're gonna start seeing more of the type of offense we saw with the Raiders and even against the Bengals, because Andy Dalton did not play bad against the Cincinnati Bengals at all, in my opinion. The interception to me wasn't his fault, even though it does go up under his stats. That's just me. But I'm excited about what this offense could potentially do if we can get that injury bug to kind of ease up now that it took a big bite, because the beat down in Chi-Town, put a lot of casualties on the list, bro.
Yeah. Definitely don't want to see all the injuries on the O-line right when we're getting a what looked like a solid group, and then inside out almost that O-line is now ravaged. So, that's how the cookie crumbles in the NFL. But yeah, man. I think you muted.
Sorry about that. Keep getting used to muting here. But so as optimistic as we potentially are about the offense, when we go to the other side of the ball,
oh
man,
Lord. Here we go.
Here we go. All the years you know me, man, I've always tried to find silver linings and everything. I can't find nothing optimistic to be about this defense as a whole. Let me put it like that. Now, individually, I can find a couple of pieces here and there, but as a unit, as a whole,
oh Lord, it ain't pretty.
The struggle is real, bro. The struggle is definitely real. Man, I don't even have the statistics and the stats, man. I just know we're god. I know we're probably bottom 5 in every major defensive statistic that's out there. Teams are running the ball on us whenever they want. I think Chicago just continually kept running inside zone on us. The last game, it's just like they're just running up the middle. We lost Derrick Brown, week 1 at New Orleans, and then the floodgates just seem to really, come open after that. And now the injuries, are then definitely took their toll. Both starting linebackers, where inside linebackers were out. Josie Jewell and Shaq Thompson. I think Josie Jewell is week to week. Is he on short term IR or is he just week to week?
I think he might be week to week.
Week to week, yeah. But Shaq Thompson, Achilles, gone for the year. Hated for him. The ultimate team guy came back on what many fans always talk about. Team friendly contract and everything, and back to back years to have early season into injuries. Man, it's got to be disheartening. But he put out on his Instagram he's coming back. So hey, I'm all for it. There's something about Panther linebackers coming back from back-to-back season and injuries seem to turn out pretty good for us. So we'll see if he can channel some of his Thomas Davis senior energy on with this latest setback. But man, my God, what are you seeing? Like, I think it's a combination of lack of talent, and because Evero's scheme, I feel like works, but if you don't have the talent, this is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I had posted on Twitter, does he get a pass for this year because of that? But give me your opinion, your insight of why this Panthers defense went from being borderline top 10 last year to, bottom 3, bottom 5 easily.
There's a couple reasons, and I told Smooth I would go off on the D line for him. We gonna get there. Obviously, 4-man rush. We're big on trench play, and we're big believers that it all starts up front. Defensively, front seven. This is probably the worst starting front seven we've ever yielded in our history as a franchise. Like, with no Derek Brown, we get decimated as far as like edge talent. Traded away Burns, all those good guys, but and now we're left with DJ Johnson and flashes of what Jadeveon Clowney used to be, and that other dude that did a spin move and got absolutely nowhere. What's his name? They just signed to, I forget his name. What's that man's name? What's his name? Charles something. Charles, y'all know what I'm talking about. Number 40. You know what I'm talking about. But I was gonna say, honestly, it's a combination of, yes, it's a lack of talent. If you're gonna play a one gap scheme like this, then you got to have people that can win one-on-ones. We don't have that. We just don't have that. It worked better when you had Derek Brown. Obviously, Derek Brown, I'll take against anybody one-on-one. That's just, how confident I am in his skill set, his power.
Number
and
40 is number 40 is linebacker Charles Harris. That's his name.
Charles Harris. There it is. I was like, I know it's two old names.
Yeah, 6'3", 250 outside linebacker.
Yeah. What he about? He about 37, 38. How old is that? He got an art card.
Hey man, I heard he backed up Dick Buckets. I don't know, man.
I'm weak. But I was gonna say, you got to win your one-on-ones. We don't have anybody that can do that right now. Jadeveon Clowney in his prime could have done that, but we're a little bit down the road there and kind of long in the tooth there. Not necessarily the same. Well, he had some success, but that was because he was on the field with dogs in Baltimore. So it's a little different when you have Jaden Peavy and DJ Johnson. Not Jaden Peavy anymore because they cut that man. It had, yeah. So life gets easier when you have good players on the field with you. But that's number one. That's the issue. That's one of the issues. I want to say number two has to stem from the offensive side of the ball, especially the first couple of weeks. 3 and outs are never good for a defense because it doesn't give them a chance to catch their footing, and then it kind of just snowballs from there. But on the other side of that coin, when the offense does move the ball, and the defense gets put back on the field, and then they render a long touchdown drive. You can't blame the offense for that.
Right.
So it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of there's just not a lot of continuity on the field now from last year. So as far as like the question of does Evero get a pass, for me he doesn't, because he picked DJ Johnson. And he probably handpicked some of these other guys, especially when there was talent to be had that might have been a little bit more juiced up as far as pass rush, or might have been a little bit more stout against the run, like Darius Robinson in this past class. Passed right over, smooth over him. And I mean, if you like
what
DJ,
about was it Hertbrigg for Pittsburgh?
Herbig, yeah. Nick Herbig from like Wisconsin or somewhere Midwest, yeah. He look, a ton of talent you passed on in the draft. And if you like DJ Johnson, I don't know how you don't like these guys, but his hand's not clean, and not having your side of the ball prepared shows when you render long touchdown drives, even when the offense is sustaining drives. So no, he doesn't get a pass. I think he'll be. I have a tough time seeing him fired just because of how sought after he is. But with some of the other moves that have been made in the season already, with Jets firing Robert Saleh, Dave Canales is safe for the next couple of years. There's a connection there, so you never know. You never know.
Yeah, you definitely never know. But I can't say I know this. Of all of our losses in all season, seeing how Brian Burns hasn't made an impact in New York, I think Frankie Louvu probably is the biggest loss to this defense.
Yes, sir.
I mean, he is hunting up there in Washington. Let me put that as the first place 4-1 Washington Commanders, led by Frankie
Jesus
Louvu.
Christ.
I think him and Bobby Wagner, I think they're both rating in like the 90s.
Yep.
Or whatever. According to PFF, take PFF grading for whatever you want to take it for. But man, and you know what? It's always hindsight is always 2020 when I look at the state of this defense, and I'm thinking that with a competent front office, what we could have had, it's just mind-boggling, bro. Like, we let Hassan Reddick walk, who's sitting at home getting as many sacks as me and you right now. Stephon Gilmore still making game-changing interceptions.
Yeah.
Like I said, Frankie Louvu. It's really. I mean, people play the what if game all day, but bro, when all these players wanted to be here, as a fan, that's what it is. Now with Frankie Louvu, we offer him more money, but the word was Dan Quinn style. Like, he saw how he turned Micah Parsons loose, and I'm not saying Frankie Louvu's Mike Parsons, so let me just preface that, but he is being a disruptive force from the outside linebacker position. In the way that Michael Parsons was for Dallas. Now on a smaller scale, because I think Frankie Louvu, he got like 3 sacks, but he got a ton of quarterback pressures and, with hits and hurries and things of that nature. He's letting him go hunt. Basically, the scheme upon the Evero wasn't giving him the opportunity to do that as much as he wanted, which is why he left, because I saw a lot of people saying it was the money. No, Carolina offered him more money. He just chose to go to a style that allowed him to play better. And he's sitting on a first place 4-1 team right now instead of a last place 1-4 team. So smart business for him. Money goes to show that money isn't everything,
Salute to his agent for telling that man, hey, think about play style. Or whoever was in that man's ear, I don't know if it was him, his agent, his rep, or whoever. Yeah, it's not about just getting the money. It's about play style and how you'll be used. So I think I was going to say Evero can be blamed a little bit for having too much of a tight, probably at corner too, because Stephon Gilmore is more of a man corner, and he's a heavy cover three, lock coverage where he'll walk down JC and let him press, but the other side of the field is pretty much a off zone like cover three type look. So maybe he can catch some flack for that.
Hey, JD, I'm going to go through here because we got some comments here just to pull them up here. Just want to make sure we let our fans know that we are interacting with them. Here, first comment here by Stephen Harrington II. He says, data favors that assessment. I believe almost 60% of teams win the next game after a QB change, but the success drops off dramatically after that first game. Yeah, I would definitely say that. Like you said, when you get that film out, it changes things up.
I had a feeling.
Matt Crankley said a couple more losses and we'll be in tank mode. I'm never a fan of the T word. That's just not my style. Because if any team has showed that tanking for higher draft picks gets you nowhere, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. So,
yeah,
leave that there.
And they're still mid.
Right. I think their entire draft class from 2021 is gone, no longer there. And they had 11 picks.
11 picks, yes, sir.
Right, and none of them. I don't think none of them are still there.
They tanked successfully because they got the first overall pick, and they still mid. What are we talking about?
Right. Then he says, that most of our good players go, how to rebuild an entire team. This O-line is the only real strength of this team, in my opinion. Yeah, but surprisingly, Austin Corbett, who I was leery of playing, being the center, was playing at a very high level at center for us until for the third year in a row. I mean, he signed a 3-year contract, and unfortunately, all 3 years have ended with him being on season-ending IR. But he definitely was handling his business before he got hurt. So now the key is, do you bring him back? I like to think we definitely can't go without drafting a center next year. I know that Brady Christensen is going to get his reps. I know that we signed someone. We brought Cade Mays back, who could play both center and guard. The undrafted free agent out of Oklahoma, I think he's in concussion protocol. So, yeah, this strength has definitely been weakened some. Like I said, plus with Moten being out or whatever. Matt also said Shat's got to go. He's always injured. Before the season, they know that secondary Horn is the only plus player. I like to say Michael Jackson has played. Yeah. He's had a couple of what the heck moments, but more times than not, I think he's played very solid as the number 2 corner. And if I'm not mistaken, Dane Jackson, who was originally expected to be the number 2 outside corner, I think he's coming back after being on short-term IR, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I would say as far as what we've seen so far, yeah, probably that's it. Between definitely J.C. Horn, Michael Jackson, definitely. I'm surprised at how bad or how off and on again Xavier Woods has been playing.
Him and Fuller.
Yeah, they've been real hit or miss, and it's kind of surprising to me. I thought they would come in clicking, especially with Xavier Woods being really good last year. Sam Franklin was one I was expecting to be a difference maker too, but he got hurt early on. So, I mean, yeah, that's where we're at.
That attrition, man.
It's a yeah.
One of the players we signed was Shaq Lawson, former first-round pick. Dan Morgan was up there when he was in Buffalo. Also bringing back Deshaun Williams as well, who who we let go after 1 year to play that DN position. So got some old faces coming back. Then Lester Edwards here on YouTube says the great teams and coach have a great system. Okay. Let's see. Players should be interchangeable. I agree. What you think about this one, JD? Nick Scott needs to go.
I haven't seen enough of defensive film. I've been focusing on offense. I ain't gonna lie to you. I hadn't been watching the DBs that much because it seems like every time they throw the ball, they complete it anyway. Honestly, it's almost like they're not even there. I think Nick Scott adds some speed to our defense, though. He's a quicker DB, and it can interchange from free to strong, open field, close look. I really don't have a preference either way. But what's the alternative there? Do you go to Jamie Robinson, or do what you gonna do? I mean, like, how much better do you expect them to be than Nick Scott?
Right. This is something I've seen talked about a lot on Twitter. This year would showcase our defensive coordinator's skills, how well he can scheme and plan for a game. I think he puts together good schemes and plans, but again, talent still wins in this league,
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, you could tell a player, you can make the right call. It could be the call that is designed to stop this particular play, but if the talent does not execute it, I mean,
you might as well not even call it.
Right. I would just throw him out there and be like, hey, just get the ball back, basically. Evero needs to try different schemes with all the injuries. I disagree because you studied and you learned a particular system. You just need to work on the areas that you're struggling in.
Yeah. A little late in the game to change schemes or like this.
Right. Dante Jackson, yep, he's balling in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he hooped.
So tell me about all those D1 schools out there, and we can't even invite and try out for the backup roles. Not quite sure what he's basing off of. So let me go to next. Oh, we can all agree on this one, JD. Scott Fitter was one of the worst GMs Carolina ever had.
Oh, yeah.
He made Hurney look like he makes Hurney look Hall of Fame-ish, definitely.
I don't know an NFL GM that wouldn't have taken that 2 first-round picks for Brian Burns when it came down to it, especially if you didn't have something already on the table.
Bro, it wasn't just 2 first, it was a 2 first and a third.
Oh nah. What NFL GM is not gonna take that? I was screaming in the chat, take it. Take it.
I mean, when you look at trades we made and didn't make, I mean, think about it, man. We keep it real. We fucked up trading McCaffrey.
Yep.
That's generational talent. Now, I do wish him a speedy recovery. I don't know if he's going to even play again this year. Looked like he got tendonitis in both his legs or whatever. He went all the way over to Germany to see a specialist about it. So, but he just got that big contract extension. So, hey, the money guaranteed. So, hey, him, the trade we didn't make with the Rams for Burns. Then to come to find out, the 3 players that the Bears wanted when we made the trade, it was they wanted us to give them Derek Brown, Brian Burns, or DJ Moore. But if we would have traded Burns to the Rams, that would have took him off the table, and who knows.
Yeah.
If I had to choose between DJ Moore and Derek Brown, I would have probably kept Derek Brown. I would probably let DJ go. That's just me personally.
Yeah.
So far, it looked like we may have fleeced the Giants for Burns, unless he turns it on all of a sudden. I don't even think he has a sack yet.
Nah, I don't think
in 5 games. And the New York media is ripping him a new one along with the fans. They are brutal. I was like, jeez.
Brian don't deserve that. Brian would just be doing his job.
Right. But Like it or not, that New York meet a whole lot different than
Oh yeah, it's so different in Charlotte.
right, Charlotte.
Different market.
So got some other comments here. We need to draft a center and a guard. What we need a guard for? We got Hunt and Lewis handling business. Probably top 5 guard duo in the league, but definitely a center. We need a lot of players on both sides of the ball. What's the word from Caleb Fairley? He's tall and fast. I know he got hurt, but he could become a starter. I think he's currently on practice squad for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's getting acclimated. We'll see. For those that don't know the story, I think his rookie year, he in a tragic fire back here, he lost his dad or something to that effect.
Something like that. I can't remember.
Man. So
he's had a tough go at it, man, for real. As far as injuries and then that tragic event.
Right. Got Zach Jones, Zach Jose, says Panthers.
There it is.
There it is. So we got to have church up here, JD. Panthers need to keep running the ball through Hubert. What are your thoughts if the Panthers add Devin White to the team? Love to work on the podcast, and as always, keep pounding. Was that first of all? Thank you for the compliment. Greatly appreciate it. JD, I'm gonna let you have this one, bro. Let's start off with the first part. Now, Dave Canales. Now, I like his honesty, but he also told us we was gonna be stubborn with the run. But we're seeing the opposite of that so far. Because even if we're down 10-14, I still think you can get back in the game running the ball. But what? Go ahead.
You was preaching. Because I've been on Twitter,
man,
literally saying the same thing, and I'm like, bro. First of all, you said you was gonna be stubborn, and obviously that was cap. It was just not. It was because here we are, when the game is within 2 scores. Chuba Hubbard has 4 carries? 4 carries. 1, 2, 3, 4. And beloved, down the stretch, okay, great. He gets 9 more carries, but the game is already 3 scored. We 3 scores out from the lead at that point.
Right.
So how do you expect your defense, if you're not extending drives, if you're not scoring points, how do you expect to keep the game in control when you're not running the ball? What are we doing? It doesn't make sense to me. And I think that's some of the young coordinator in him. And obviously, I was telling the guys on the spaces.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of the reason why offensive-minded head coaches they'll coach themselves out of a job, because you're trying to do the pretty sexy pass for 350 yards with Andy Dalton every game when it looks like the game's getting ready to get out of reach. Improve yourself as far as passing concepts, but you're not doing stuff that makes logical sense on the football field.
Yeah, and it's not. And when I say Chuba's getting 5-6 yards a carry.
Yeah,
bro. I mean,
yeah. That was with that. It's 5 yards a carry without his 38-yard touchdown run.
And bro, the Bears were 25th in run defense.
Boy,
and he only ended up with 13 carries. Yeah,
I about cuss.
Yeah, say that for me, because we know what you're trying to do. Right. We're gonna leave that there,
boy.
But let's go to the next part here. What are your thoughts on Panthers add Devin White to the team at this stage?
Why not?
What
we got to lose?
Absolute more games, but we're used to that by now.
I was about to say we tracking on that.
Right. I'm for it. You can play against Tampa twice, because we haven't played them yet. I know he was a pro, but did he ever make All Pro? I don't know if he was ever All Pro, but
I know he came close a couple years.
I know he just couldn't crack the rotation. I know he been healthy, but he signed a 1-year deal with the Eagles. But Hey, again, I'm all for it. You know. So Zach, we appreciate the comment and the love.
Second team All Pro in 2020.
Okay, appreciate that. Says here by John Femright, Burns had just one sack. Okay, I think yeah, okay, one. That's definitely not what they was expecting with that contract here.
Nah.
Again, more preaching to the choir. The run game is the best part of our offense.
By far. By far.
By far. Yeah. Yeah.
Jelani.
My baby girl. Hi, princess. So, you know. But yeah, that Panthers defense definitely needs some prayer and some supplication. You kind of hit on this third question, JD, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch it up here real quick. What are your opinions about the coaching staff so far?
Lord, it's a young, you can tell it's a young coaching staff. Like they're not really gelling together, and obviously Canales brings some of his guys, but there's still a mix you can tell from the old regime and the current regime on the defensive side of the ball. I think that the team has looked underprepared more often than not on offense and defense. Especially the first 2 weeks for sure, underprepared, woefully underprepared, like to the point to where you have receivers running the same pattern at the same depth on the opposite sides of the field. You've got philosophy issues as far as asking your quarterback to throw the ball within 2.7 seconds, but with no middle of the field crossers, no underneath outlets. You've got everybody stemming 10 yards up the field, but you want the ball out in 2.7 seconds. That don't make sense to me. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Don't know how to pick up protections, can't see blitzes or doesn't have checks for blitzes. And at the NFL level, you're just asking to get obliterated on the offensive side of the ball. And that's just the offense from an offensive-minded coach who is supposed to be a QB guru. That's unacceptable. Should never be the case. And then it got so bad that you had to pull your incumbent franchise guy at the time, which Bryce Young was. You don't play a non-franchise guy one time in the preseason for like what 10 games, a 10 play series, and pull him and sit.
It was 8.
Look, 8 play series and then pull him and sit and to protect them, and he's not the franchise. I'm not buying that. So absolutely just underprepared, just not ready for prime time. Maybe Canales can learn from it. I don't think he does. I've seen this story before. Right the ship by all means. I would be a fan of it, but I don't know, man. The waters are very treacherous moving forward, so it'll be interesting to see if they can pull it out. I'm rooting for Canales. He's a good guy. Like the
I love his energy.
Yeah, I would say the only thing I disagree with is the philosophy of making your motivation internal. That kind of bleeds into not imposing your will on another team against their will, which is the heart and soul of football to me. Like it kind of shows when they make it inside the 5 and they don't call a run play for 4 plays, and your quarterback has to scramble in. That kind of shows, and then obviously some of the more passive calls that we've had, but. As far as demeanor, intelligence, I think he has that. It's just making it make sense as far as the NFL goes, as far as experience and making the scheme make sense.
I mean, he looks like a first-year rookie head coach in NFL.
For sure.
I've seen, we just acknowledged mistakes, but I've also seen, the potential. I'm definitely a fan of going forward on 4 downs as often as they have. I love, even though it didn't convert, I love the fake punt that was dropped.
Yeah.
Because it definitely had the yardage. Going for it on all 4 downs when we had a 1st and goal at the 2, even though we couldn't punch it in. As far as opportunities to seize momentum or swing it back to your way, I definitely like the aspect. He's not fearless. He's not overly conservative.
Right.
He
not like Frank Wright. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I really feel like he really does things so to let the players know, hey, I believe you guys can do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that type of belief is going to pay off in the long run. Me personally.
I think for as far as the upside, the Raiders game is what we're going to hang our hat on, and we should because they came out firing on all cylinders in every phase of the game, pretty much.
Yeah, and like I said, even the Bengals game, I just think that was just a bad day of tackling.
Yeah,
I think offensively we did enough to win. I just think that was just we look like a team that hasn't practiced tackling for whatever reason. There's no way that touchdown by Jamar Chase, he was surrounded by 5 defenders and still made it to the end zone. That's unexcusable, unacceptable.
It's kind of crazy,
man.
That sound like grass drills to me,
bro. Them stadium steps. You know what I'm saying? Them gassers.
Wall sit. Everybody on the line.
Right. But like I said, I'm having patience. Like I said, year 1, he's find out what works, what don't works. He's got a 6-year contract, So not worried about his job whatsoever.
I think some of Teppert's reputation, if he does pull the plug on it early, then it's going to look really, really, really bad for coaches that are looking to come in. So,
considering that the word got how toxic we are,
right. I'll say he make it through year 4 maybe, and if it's still a dumpster fire a couple games in year 4, then that's when we pull the plug.
Okay. And the final question of the night here goes to: what are your expectations for the rest of 2024? Now, me personally, I came in the year thinking the ceiling was 6-11. I'm sorry, the floor was 6-11. Sorry, and the roof was 9-8. So I had us between 6 to 9 wins. I felt like that we was going to be that old scrappy team that just nobody wanted to play. I really felt that way coming into the season. But the way these injuries have beset us, I'm like I said, I don't use the T word. I'm not even thinking about that. But I'm looking at these next 3 games. Home against Atlanta, 4:25 Sunday, and then we're going to be at Washington, which is going to be a tough road game, and we're going to be at Denver. So all the next 3 teams have winning records that we're facing. So, if we can manage to pull 2 wins out of the 3, then I'm feeling like, okay, we're getting this thing on the right track. But if we should happen for whatever reason, something go 0-3 and end up being 1-7 after these next 3 games, as hard as it is to scrape optimism up right now, it's just pretty much playing out the string after that for me. But if we're sitting at 3-4, or if we're sitting at 4-4 or 3-5, and we're look like we're getting it, then I'm gonna feel slightly more optimistic. So for me, this next quarter of games, because if I'm not mistaken, is home against the Falcons, at Washington, at Denver, home against the Saints, and then we get ready to make the trip across the pond to Germany to play the Giants. So Falcons, Commanders, Broncos, and Saints are the next 4 games. Um, if somehow we can go 2-2 out of that, I'll feel somewhat optimistic. But you know, we just can't. I'm not. Even though injuries are a factor, I've seen too many teams have the next man up, and somehow will themselves to a win. But we'll definitely see. But that's just my expectation for the rest of the year. How about you, JD?
It's tough to call for me. There's too many variables. Like, my first question would be, did we finally commit to the run? My next question will be, is Andy Dalton starting the rest of the year? Um, and then my last question would be, does the defense figure out how to stop a nosebleed? Well, not even a nosebleed, because those can be kind of hard to stop. Do they make stops when they're supposed to make stops? Like, can they stop the faucet from running? Like, and not like dripping, leaking, and calling a plumber. I mean, like, literally, can they take the knob and turn it off? um, I There's a lot of for me. I honestly I honestly see, if we don't have another outlier game like or another 2 stretch of games like the Bengals and Raiders, even though we lost against Bengals, I feel like that's a game we could have easily won. Um, if we don't have any more games like that, it wouldn't surprise me. But I think we can, at least in this next stretch of 4. Broncos they have a winning record, but their offense isn't really that potent, to me. Um, that's a winnable game if the defense doesn't yield a get right game for Bo Nix and those guys and Sean Payton. Um, I would say I'm not confident about beating the Falcons, just because they're not afraid to commit to the run, and we're kind of terrible at stopping the run. So, um, Falcons and then Saints obviously hitting us with play action, um, kind of makes me concerned. I'm not worried about the Giants at all. Um, so maybe you can, the optimist fan in me, and is contrary to popular belief, I do actually like us to win and have positive things to say. It's just that I haven't had a lot of that to say in the last 6-7 years. But I would say optimistically looking at it, you can go 2-2 this next 4 stretch of games and then find yourself a couple games back from being in contention for the division. So that'll be a good place to be. Worst case scenario, we're the get right game for the Broncos, the get right game for the Giants, and we bottom out. Um, but I honestly can't see that happening. I think we'll go 1-3, 2-2 in this next stretch of 4, and then go into the bye.
Yeah, because for as many players that just went on the injury list, we got a bunch of players
Get ready to come back.
seem to come back. So we'll see.
Right.
We'll see if this swap out of work. We'll see how Brady Christensen does at center. For all you Brady Christensen fans, our free agent lineman pickup Nijman from Green Bay. A lot of you guys were calling for him to replace Icky in off season. I still got receipts for that. I save my Icky soapbox for another day.
Salute to Icky. Icky is not the problem right now, and that's a good place to live.
Right. I have people want to get in arguments to me about what almost happened with Icky versus what actually did. Like, bro, y'all just determined to, But anyway, yeah. I'll wait for a win to brag about Icky. But let's talk about real quick because a lot of people were high on him during the off-season training camp. I'm I'm a fan of his, but I also looked at it as garbage time, so I don't want to just be told. But wide receiver Jalen Coker, I know a lot of people are calling for him to replace Jonathan Mingo. He did look good out there, but I also look at it as the game had already been decided too. So, was he really, would it really, I don't know. I don't want to water down on the kids because, he was graded one of the highest rookies, as far as wide receiver grade. So definitely he had 4 catches, 68 yards or something of that, of that effect. So how would you evaluate his performance based on those circumstances? Because I like what I saw, but I also have to remember the circumstances that I saw it up under,
Right.
But what's your take?
As somebody that was super critical of not drafting a couple of receivers, and Jalen Coker got the brunt of that on my Twitter feed. Here we are praying that Jalen Coker turns into something that can impact the game instead of drafting 2 receivers in the draft that can impact the game for sure. I saw enough from him to give him a good bit of snaps from Mingo's plate, honestly. As far as the route running, obviously Smitty told us that beforehand that that's one of his strengths. Obviously ball skills. Seemed to be, he had a little bit of juice on him, especially if he got into space and wasn't afraid of contact, didn't step out of bounds, and it's the little things like that. I think he was also our highest graded run blocker at receiver. So, I mean, like, if Mingo's not run blocking well, which is a part of the reason why he's here, and he's not doing the other things well enough, then why would you put him on the field over, Jalen Coker? And at this point, we're at the point now to where we need to get any kind of dynamicism on the field by any means necessary. So whether it's Jalen Coker, whether that's Deion Kane, whether that's Devin Tompkins on practice squad, those guys, and you got to do what you got to do. But as far as evaluation goes, obviously nobody's keying in on Jalen Coker. Nobody had film on Jalen Coker as far as live action outside of preseason goes. So, once again, it's easy to kind of fly under the radar. Now he's going into this week being the team's leading receiver, and people have film on him now. So it's like, okay, well, you gotta re-up and do it again for it to make any difference. But I would give him plenty of snaps. I wouldn't shy away from getting him on the field.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, I'm for it. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Leggett, I think he's dealing with a shoulder issue. So, hey, get Coker out there. At this point, let's see what they got. That's where the point that I'm at with it so far.
What do we got to lose as far as, like, obviously we got games still left to play, but what do we have to lose from seeing what young talent we got, especially if we're searching for an identity?
Right. Yeah, absolutely nothing. Austin here says we'll win at least one of those games. Just hard to tell which one. And Brad Holt again says need to use players that give us the best chance to win. Yeah, I definitely agree. Can we show some love to probably our most controversial draft pick here, 3rd rounder, linebacker, rookie, Trevin Wallace. 15 tackles.
Yeah.
And the last Panther rookie to do that at linebacker was future Hall of Famer Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, just some guy named Luke Kuechly,
some guy named Luke,
Yeah.
I mean, and he was more than just a run stop. I saw him make plays in the passing game. Like I said, for me, bringing a Devin White, with his experience, and put him beside a Wallace on the interior. Hey, shit, I'm all for it. Let him pick the brain of a all-pro Pro Bowl linebacker. Here. I mean, appreciate Shaq Thompson after surgery calling in and want to know how practice go and things of that nature. But on the field, having a guy like that, I'm definitely all for.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely shout outs to him. JD, have you heard anything about how soon guys like Wanham, our rookie running back Brooks, are they potentially eligible for this game? Are we going to find out tomorrow? Let's see, tomorrow's what?
Tomorrow will be Thursday.
Okay, yeah. So they had practice today. Yeah. So
let me see. I didn't look for today, but I know. I didn't see anything honestly because I was just on. But I know Jonathan Brooks is looking at either this week or next week. I'm thinking next week for sure. You at least see him in some live action. I don't think he'll be on the field a lot to begin with. Honestly, I think they'll ramp him up. Wanham, I have heard literal radio silence on. I haven't heard or seen anything from him. So, yo no sé.
Sure. A long shot. Barno, I think he's eligible to come back.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm not seeing anything.
Okay. Guys like Mike Kay and Joe Person and Sheena and Vashai, those would be the first one I usually go to.
I was gonna say if in the next couple of weeks those guys aren't coming back, they'll probably stick them on long-term IR and just end their season.
Right.
I think that's a big possibility, especially if I don't know if they're using I don't think short-term IR uses a roster spot unless you go past the number of weeks allotted.
Right. And Brad here says Dane Jackson, cornerback, and tight end Ian Thomas are actually the closest thing to being ready this weekend. You know what? I never thought I'd say this, but I know he's a rookie, but JT, he's not doing it for him at this point. He's averaging more penalties a game than receptions at this point. And man, and it'd be the penalties that be crude. I mean, we'll pick up a first down and it's a flag on him, and it's like, you're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. He actually got me missing Ian Thomas.
Yeah,
and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but he's still a young player. There's still hope there. But...
Yeah. I mean, he's doing a lot of growth. I mean, I get it. I'm speaking as a fan, you know what I'm saying, and thinking about the emotions of the moment at the time.
Yeah.
But
I miss Sullivan. I thought I'd never say that. But
Steven Sullivan?
I low-key miss Steven Sullivan.
He's back on the practice squad, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. They need to call that man on.
Bruh. So.
Call that man on up.
Boy. Well, JD, that's the we had the 1 hour 10-minute mark. That's the pretty much the 4 questions that I wanted to discuss with you in front of our fans here. So I want to say thank you to everyone that commented tonight from our YouTube channel and from our Facebook. here as well. Looks like we got up to 201 eyes on us, JD. So, hey man, we
We
if
missed
your
y'all,
schedule
boy.
allow you, man, let's try to see if we can get this back to being a weekly thing. You know, if you
Yeah. Same time next week.
okay,
Tuesday,
yeah,
early on next week. You know what I'm saying? We'll
yeah,
work something
Monday,
out in the
Tuesday.
chat.
Well, yeah, we'll work. Yeah, definitely. You know, I know you know with your schedule and work and things of that nature. So,
Yeah, I'm good on Monday or Tuesday. Those are my rest days.
okay, good. We'll definitely work off of that. Hopefully, we can be talking about how we beat them Atlanta Falcons. You know, that
Oh
was
yeah, I'm
just
gonna be hyped.
yeah.
Playing some Monty Fetty in the intro.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but again, want to thank all of you fans out here for supporting the Four-Man Rush. You know, one more time, apologize for our long absence. Like I said, life has been lifing, but we're getting back on track. We're getting situated here. So we appreciate you guys reaching out to us. Definitely appreciate your interactions with us on social media, whether it be Twitter, whether it be Facebook, whether it be on YouTube. We definitely want to say thank you guys for everything that you do. You're the reasons why we enjoy doing what we do. And just on behalf of everybody here at the Four-Man Rush, and if there's any Panther fans that's in the path of Hurricane Milton, which done made landfall down in the Tampa, Sarasota area of Florida, just anybody in the state of Florida right now, definitely hope you're in a safe location. You know, your life means more than any materialistic possession, so definitely hope you chose to put your safety over everything. Definitely, you know, God bless all the families that went through, and also the families that are still lingering from the effects of, you know, Hurricane Helene as well. You know, 6 states was affected: Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. So, you know, somebody made a good point. You know, Mother Nature has a way of reclaiming what's hers. You know, so I'll leave that at that. Um, you know, and no, the government's not controlling these hurricanes. I feel like I don't know how to say that, but
Yeah, you know, sometimes you have to say stuff that you shouldn't really have to say.
right. And FEMA is helping. So yeah, I
Right,
feel like I say
right,
that
right,
too.
right, right.
Right. But anyway, I'm not gonna take it there. That's a whole nother show. But
I'm weak.
but yeah. But for real, on behalf of Jadarius here, Mr. JD, aka Panthers Den, me, Kevin Avery, aka Country Kev. You know, shout out to everybody else for the Full-Man Rush. Uh, you know, Will, Big Smooth, Monty, uh, Vince Holmes, you know, Cornado Greg James, and the John B of our group, Noah Thornburg, you know. But I think I got everybody. Want to let you guys know, you know, love y'all, appreciate y'all, man. We know if y'all could be here, y'all would, but you know, handle your business. But me and JD, we'll be back next time. We might have somebody else on with us. Who knows? We'll see how it plays out. But behalf of the Four-Man Rush, again, we want to thank you all. Everybody, stay safe. If you're able to come to Charlotte, it's the visit. It's hate week, man. It's the Atlanta Falcons, man. Our I-85 rivals. Let's get behind this team. And I know they down right now, but let's get behind them and see if we can help cheer them on to a win. But y'all take care, stay safe, and main thing, keep pounding, and what a rush.